We only live once, and it's important to make the best of it. However, most of us don't. Many people spend their lives simply thinking about how to pass the time instead of making the most of it. In this video, we'll look at 20 signs that indicate we are wasting our lives. And if you see yourself in a couple of these points, don't despair. I believe all of us, including myself, make some of these mistakes, but if you find yourself in many of the points I will describe, then take it as a wake-up call and get ready to act to improve the situation. As usual, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and share it if you think a friend might benefit. Let's begin. 1. You're living a life you don't like. The way to measure a person's success is by their happiness level. Are you happy? If you are, you've already won. You can save time and close this video. If you're not, then it's time to change something. Even a feeling of contentment or satisfaction sometimes doesn't tell us we're living life to the fullest. Life should be exciting. So, if you're not thoroughly enjoying life in every aspect, listen closely to the following points to understand where and how to make the necessary changes. And if any of the listed points seem impossible to reach, don't despair. The first change to make is to rid yourself of the idea that you can't do it. Many times the biggest obstacle is your own thought process. So start there, change your thinking, and you'll change your life. 2. You'd willingly trade your life with someone else. This is one of the key points of the video. If you would be willing to trade your life for another person's, you're probably not happy. And here, I don't mean wanting to trade lives with your idol, but trading lives with a childhood friend or a work colleague, ordinary people. A person reaches happiness and inner success when they no longer desire to trade their life for someone else's. If you've worked hard to improve yourself, you should have reached a point where you don't want to trade your life with anyone because you love the one you're living so much. You shouldn't need more money because you have enough. The love you receive from your family is worth much more than anything else someone can offer you, and you should be healthy enough to live life and enjoy it. The goal is to reach a point in life where you are so happy, feel so much gratitude that you would never want to trade with anyone. 3. You don't take care of your health. Eating healthily, regular exercise, and sleeping 8 hours a night are the 3 basic rules for good physical health. If you don't pay attention to your physical health, it will affect your mental health and mood. And I know I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but following a healthy and balanced diet and moving your body has other positive effects beyond weight loss or muscle development. It affects your mental attitude and overall well-being. 4. You constantly stay in your comfort zone. Everyone likes to stay in their comfort zone, but to improve your life, you have to be willing to step out of it and take risks. Calculated risks I'm talking about. Any risk has the possibility of going wrong. But a calculated risk is one where you've evaluated all the options, the various pros and cons, and then developed a valid and sensible action plan. Think about it. How many calculated risks have you really taken in the past year? Probably too few. 5. You're single, but not by choice. Being single is cool. And I say this as someone who's not single. Being able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, without having to answer to anyone is priceless. But it can become agony if it's not by choice. Sometimes people think the right person will magically show up at their door, but unless you fall in love with the mail carrier or the DHL courier, it probably won't happen. Now ask yourself these questions and answer honestly. Do you like yourself? Objectively, how can you be more attractive than you are now? Stop thinking that the reason you're alone is that women are all gold diggers or men think only about one thing. If this is the type of women or men you attract, ask yourself why. Instead of blaming the opposite sex or the same sex for your romantic failures, try to improve your ability to select partners and your decision-making process to increase the chances of meeting the right person. 6. You spend time with people who don't contribute to your life. Your circle of friends is important for your personal and professional life. There are friends who really help you grow as a person and friends who just waste your time. It's important to realize that hanging out with the wrong people who don't make us feel good or become better people risks leading us to stagnation or worse. Many people are real energy vampires filling us with negativity by constantly complaining about everything and everyone without bringing anything positive to the relationship. Instead, look for growth-oriented people. Also ask yourself, who are my friends? A red flag is raised when you realize you don't have friends by choice, but out of convenience. For example, are you friends with these people only because you work together, or you were forced to attend the same school, but outside of the bond that comes from mandatory attendance, you never made other friendships? 7. Nothing seems to entertain you anymore. You can choose to have an exciting and fun life or a boring and colorless one. It's up to you. The reality, however, is that for many people, the daily routine is limited to being homework, work, home. They don't even remember the last time they did a truly exciting activity. There's a substantial difference between living and surviving. This doesn't mean there aren't periods in life where you have to make many sacrifices that limit, or even completely remove all fun. But if after years of hard work, you still don't find time to dedicate to pleasurable activities, then something is wrong and changes need to be made. 8. You're too critical of yourself. Self-criticism can make or break your life. As Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're probably right. If you think you're not smart enough to get that promotion you covet or to start your own business, then you're right. If you say you're too exhausted to commit to changing your life, then you're right. Whatever you tell yourself becomes your reality. So carefully monitor what you say to yourself, because you'll find that your life matches your thoughts. 9. You think people don't think highly of you. Everyone loves to be recognized and appreciated for their merits, but the problem arises when a person believes they have no merit for which they can be appreciated. And if you think so, you're probably right. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. The less consideration one has for themselves, the less others will think of them. They end up becoming the person they believe others think they are. If this is your case, stop wasting time with negative thoughts and start working on developing confidence in yourself and acting in accordance with the new person you are building. Most people often fail to express themselves or their talents because of what others think of them. But the reality is that every person out there has their own life and commitments and will dedicate much less time to thinking about others' affairs than we might believe. Think about it. The people we admire most are too busy doing to worry about what others think of them. If we take a high-level person in a specific work field, for example, they might care about what important people in that specific field think of them, perhaps seeking some useful advice, but they certainly don't care about the opinion of friends or relatives who may know nothing about the subject in question. If Messi or Ronaldo miss a penalty, do you really think they care about the opinion of 4 losers who insult them on Facebook, whose opinion is worth nothing? If you habitually worry about what friends, family, peers, or popular culture think of you, maybe you're letting life slip through your fingers. Instead of doing what others approve of, find a purpose you can be faithful to even when the world turns against you. 10. You've had the same New Year's resolutions for 5 years in a row, but you still haven't achieved them. People greatly overestimate what they can do in a year, but underestimate enormously what they can do in 5 to 10 years. How many times do we hear, towards the end of the year, acquaintances or friends make grand proclamations for the new year, only to inevitably never achieve these goals, looking for the most disparate excuses to justify their lack of results? Instead of looking for excuses, it would be more useful to ask the real reason why these goals were not achieved, taking responsibility and using past experiences to better plan future goals. 11. You don't have a purpose in life. Many people dream of changing the world, but then fail to change themselves. They want to eliminate hunger in Africa, but depend on their parents to buy food for themselves. It's important to take things step by step. Before you can give to the world, you need to have clear personal goals to work on, more or less important goals that inspire us to improve as people day after day, starting with becoming fully independent. If you haven't already, find something that makes you proud of yourself, become good at it, and then show the world what you can do. But first and foremost, do it for yourself. 12. You try to escape disappointments in the wrong way. Most people don't want to be happy, they just want to escape pain and suffering in whatever form they appear in their lives. The most common way people find to escape suffering is to indulge in something that offers them the escape they seek, even if only for a few hours. Cigarettes, drugs, alcohol, food, reality TV, adult entertainment, and more are all ways to escape difficulties or simply to pass the time. Even though they know it's not the best way to do it, try a different alternative way to face everyday difficulties. Stressed at work? Instead of going home and smoking a joint, go for a run. Instead of masturbating, go to the gym. Bored? Instead of watching pointless TV programs, open a book or maybe watch my videos. You'd be doing me a favor. If you have to be addicted to something, be addicted to what brings you long-term benefits. 13. You can't concentrate. Many underestimate the importance of being able to concentrate. The reality is that the inability of many to concentrate on something for more than a couple of minutes is what prevents them from making the hoped-for progress. Since you started watching this video, how many times have you checked your phone for various notifications? These distractions are costing you progress. There's a big difference between multitasking and futilely distracting oneself. Our mind is our greatest resource, and many continue to sabotage it, thus tiring it out. Let it rest. Stop stressing your mind, learn to find calm and concentrate on one thing at a time. Set priorities for what's important and focus on that. 14. You think your best years are behind you. The problem with having the peak of the mountain behind you is that the only way forward is downhill, and who wants to live in a world where tomorrow is worse than yesterday? This is one of many mistaken beliefs. Except for serious health issues, if the future is seen negatively, it means something has gone wrong and you need to get back on the right track. Nothing prevents you from making tomorrow better than yesterday, except yourself. 15. You don't learn anything new. If we don't grow and continually learn as people, then we are stagnant, just like a pond that doesn't move and on which dirt grows. Living this way, we waste our life, our time. Most people work hard and relax in their remaining time with social media or TV without learning new things. Don't do this. Try to learn something new every day and keep your mind always active. 16. You have no plans for the future. Although it's always nice to live in the present or enjoy the moment, sometimes it's necessary to look ahead to see where you want to go. If you don't have a goal or a plan for your future, you're like a boat wandering aimlessly in the ocean, hoping to end up in a nice place. But it doesn't work like that. You need to create a map that helps you step by step to get where you want to go. Try to create a kind of internal Google map where you have an idea of the path to follow, but remain flexible to make changes when necessary. 17. You spend more time planning than doing. This point follows on from the one just seen. Planning is important, yes, but if you spend more time daydreaming, planning, or thinking about the future than working to make it happen, you're not making the most of your life. Successful people don't sit around daydreaming about what the future could be. They choose a goal for the future and then work hard to achieve it. Listen, you can plan everything perfectly, but it's much more important to maintain an agile and flexible approach to your projects, because the perfect plan doesn't exist, and sooner or later you'll face unforeseen events that will inevitably disrupt your plans, so don't let excessive planning slow you down. 18. You spend money futilely. There's a difference between a need and a want. However, in today's society, not everyone seems to understand the difference. I know people who can barely pay their mortgage, but don't hesitate to spend hundreds or thousands of euros to buy brand-name items they don't actually need. If you stop and think, there's very little we actually need. Food, water, and a roof over our heads are some of these things. Everything else is not so important, so examine the way you spend your money and see if you can make improvements. The most foolish way to spend money is to buy luxury items you can't afford simply to maintain a certain social status. The substantial difference between a poor person buying clothes from Walmart or Primark and a poor person spending their savings to buy a designer Armani suit is that the latter, in addition to being poor, is also stupid. Obviously, if one has a lot of money and can afford it, the story is completely different. Let them enjoy it, and I hope there's no need to explain that. 19. You don't get out of bed as soon as you wake up. If you spend half an hour to an hour on your phone before getting out of bed once you wake up, you're not making the most of your life. People with a driving purpose in their lives don't spend time lounging on their phones in bed. Waking up is not a problem. It's just the start of another day. For those with a purpose, waking up every morning is a refreshing welcome to another day of hard but meaningful work. 20. You complain. Often. I know people who are constantly overwhelmed by life and never stop complaining. Are you one of these people? Do you complain about your job, your boss, your salary, your neighbors, or your spouse? If you do, you're just emitting negative energy. Negativity doesn't change things, it keeps you stuck. Change your thoughts and talk about what you appreciate in your life, not what you don't like. Be grateful for what you have and don't take it for granted, because one day, you might lose it forever, and then you'll realize that what you complain about today is not so important. Now tell me, in which of these 20 points do you see yourself and think you need to improve? Personally, there are about 5 or 6 of these that I also fall into, but let me know by leaving a comment under the video. I'm curious to understand the most common problems and maybe delve into them in future videos. If you liked this video, I recommend you check out the video, The Ultimate Guide to Live a Miserable Life, 7 Proven Steps, that you can find on this channel, and please subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss future videos if you haven't already done so. Thank you very much, and see you next time.